Look who it is.
It's
We're
funny.
here.
It's funny because we haven't done a press play in a while on the weekend live.
Hmm.
So it took the writers and actors going on strike to get us to do a live show.
Yeah, we said, hey, you know what? Let's try something new. It's been a minute, but we will do it anyway. Um,
Breck Warren, we appreciate that because Michael has been telling me.
Also, Breck Warren, as somebody who go ahead,
Yeah,
because we're
he
about to
was
say the
saying
same thing.
he was saying Warrior is amazing. See, and it's back. So I don't watch it, but Michael says it is amazing. So for you to put that off to watch us, we appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, because I myself am like 2 episodes behind. I saw when they did the 3 episode drop for like the season premiere. I watched those
Mhm.
three. It was fantastic. So yeah, I'm excuse me, I guess 2 episodes behind now at this point, but I will be watching Warrior maybe tonight. I don't know. Or
Did they
this
drop the whole season or are they dropping them weekly?
they're weekly, but the first drop was 3 episodes at once.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So we got in here. We got Breck Warren. I think some other people might be in here too.
I believe I saw IMAX. No, Banks 757.
Okay, cool. Oh,
I
you're on season
apologize.
one. Oh, Breck, man, does it get wild in good ways. Yeah. So, I mean, where you want to start, man?
Well, let's start with the facts.
Well, I mean,
What?
do you want to start with where we've been for the past weeks or what?
Oh man. Oh, so I we when was the last time we did this?
A live one? Oh, it's been a minute. It's been months.
No, we did one in June, I thought. A live one in June.
The people that are in chat, yeah, Breck and Banks. Did we do one in June? I don't know. It's
I
been a
know
minute.
I know we've done I know we recorded the last one I remember, and I know this is bad because I'm on parent brain.
Hmm.
We did one for the Sony showcase, and then we did that was tape.
Yeah,
And then I know we did another one for
yeah. Breck Warren says months ago.
the the whole summer showcase of games. I know we did that one.
Mm.
Other than that, I don't remember. We've been MIA. Part of it is my fault because my boys had a birthday in June, and then I had a family emergency, so the wife had to leave and go take care of her parents. So that means I was stuck with the kids by myself. Um, Thankfully, everybody's okay, and oh, the boys are alive. So I proved that through the sheer will I can probably take care of them for a few days when my wife's not here.
Look at that. Only do it. Look at God.
I
It's
know, boy.
wonderful.
It was up and down. It was touch and go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we've tried to give you guys a little bit of stuff. I think we've done a good job in terms of at least giving you reaction videos and
Yeah,
stuff as best we could
we got to get
with
back
our
on the
crazy
schedule.
schedules. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get back on the schedule of press play.
But as you say, yeah, it took something that hasn't happened since 1960
Yep.
for us
Guess who
to
was
come
the
back to you
SAG
live.
president then?
Oh God, I don't know.
You don't want to take a guess?
I don't know. Nope. No clue.
Ronald Reagan.
Really interesting.
Yep. The
Okay.
last time this happened, both
Wait.
actors. The last time that the
Okay,
actors
that
and
both
writers
together.
unions were both on strike was in 1960 when
Hmm.
the SAG was led by Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
None of us were alive the last time this happened. That's how
Yeah.
big this is.
Yeah.
Residuals were a major point of contention. Basically, what they were striking was because the movies and the movies that they were working on, they were being sold to television and being able to be shown on television. And there was none of the money being given to the actors and the writers when those sales happened. So when your big screen movie moved from television or movie to television, the residuals for that they weren't getting. So they struck.
Yeah. Banks 757. Since 1960, they both did it together. That was the last time they did it together.
Yep.
1980 was the last actor
Actors
strike,
strike.
I believe.
And 2007 was the last writer's strike.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, where you want to start?
So let's start with the beginning. I was about to say Fran Drescher, and that is not that lady's name.
That is her name.
That is her real last name?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is right.
Yeah, that's her name.
Dude,
Still looking good. Get it, Nanny.
so Fran Drescher, who is the current SAG president right now, had a press conference today and said that it was unanimous that the writers who are already on strike, they've been on strike for 70 days, will be joined midnight tonight Pacific time, will be joined by 160,000 actors. They are striking because of pay imbalance from streaming services
Hmm.
and the concept of AI. This is a big contention for them. The last time, the last time, and the reason why I told Michael, I said we should do something, and Michael was like, "Well, let's do it live," is because the last time this happened was in 1960. That is the last time these two groups struck together. Now
That's a
they
good joke,
all,
Herbert. That's a very good joke.
now if you want to know the trifecta, they almost had the director striking with them, but um, does
They
that
work
say
something
press
out.
play? Uncle Phil is hurting GQ. Really?
It shouldn't. You should refresh your thing.
I'm scared to refresh. I'm scared to see what
It
happens with
should
her.
say press play after dark. Everybody's striking.
Oh, okay, okay. If you see it, I'm good. But the reason that's why I said it's so important that the last time that this happened was in 1960. So this is big. Um, Fran Drescher has gone on to say that they feel that their concerns are not being heard. Actors are saying that they are not able to live in the place in the they're not able to live in LA where they're supposed to work. Um, it is a very trying time because the pay scales have not increased with inflation. Meanwhile, they say that the studios are making records amount of money and CEOs are being paid records amount of money.
Hmm.
Um, so that's where we are. The writers are at 70 days right now. This writers strike and actor strike is going to stop production on television shows, movies, comic book appearances. I mean, sorry, comic convention appearances with like San Diego Comic Con coming up. We've already started to see cancellation of panels. This also puts in jeopardy. I don't know if you guys remember, but yesterday, well, for whenever you watch this, the as we're doing this yesterday, the Emmys were announced. The Emmy live broadcast is in jeopardy now for September. This also puts the Toronto and Venice film festivals in jeopardy. And it also means that you will not see any actors or writers or anybody promoting the rest of the summer slate movies that are coming out. So that means Barbie, that means Oppenheimer, that means Strays.
Have you seen the photos of the Oppenheimer people leaving?
Yeah, I have not. I saw the headline.
Yeah. Apparently, I guess the premiere was tonight in London,
Yes, I heard
and
Robert
Matt
Downey Jr.
Damon and all those people like,
Yep.
we out.
Hmm.
Peace.
Yep.
That's
S-
that's that's a wild sight to see. You're there, like, oh no, we got to go.
And the only person, so Christopher Nolan was the one who was able to talk on the red carpet and actually have to promote the film. That's it,
Hmm.
because the directors are the only people who have a contract, a new contract with their union and the what is it, AM? I want to get their name right. The AMT.
So many acronyms.
Yeah,
AMPTA, if I had to guess, maybe.
no, there's only one A.
No, there's two A's.
There is.
Hmm.
Okay, if you say so, I believe you.
Because one A is American and the other one is Association.
Okay. Um,
American Motion Picture and Television Association, maybe.
I'm looking right now. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers.
Alliance. Okay.
Yeah. So the AMPTP.
P, two P's. Okay.
Yes. So that's where we are. So yes, Breck Warren, you said this affects cons too. Yes, it does, because the contract means that you cannot promote anything if you're on strike. So you can show it for autographs. So the question is, will some of these actors still show up and do autograph signings? But that means no panels. That means your studios are not going to be showing off new things because they don't have anybody to sit there and talk about the creative process of what it took to make this whatever.
Well, they could still show off stuff.
they could still show off, but you would have to hire
It
people.
would just be
Hmm.
weird to if there's like no Q&A session.
You just have to have promoters just come up there and be like, "Hey, look at this wonderful beam footage."
You remember those times in school when a substitute came and they played a video
Hmm.
and everybody watched and class is
Hmm.
over? That's what this is now. That's
Yep.
what Comic-Con is going to be. Watch this
Now,
video, panel's over.
now we talked about this before when you mentioned Marvel and Warner Brothers pulling out and not being in Hall H and not having a presence in Hall H coming up this San Diego when we talked about San Diego Comic Con coming up.
Mhm.
Um, nope, Bank 757. Nope, you're not going to see any of that coming up.
It's going to be people going to SDCC going to be mad. Well, Breck, Leroy, and I are going to SDCC this year, so it's gonna. I am curious because I've been so many years. I don't feel as bad because people aren't going to be there. I'm actually more just kind of going to watch it as a science experiment now, just to see what this is, to see if I can compare it to years in the past where I've been and I've been able to see actors and talent. Now I'm really am just going to be people watching, like, man, what is this going to do for? Because I, in my mind, I'm like, part of the draw of having actors and producers and stuff there is that it kind of takes people out of the main hall because they were busy going looking at Hall H or Ballroom 20. But now, since they're not there, everybody's going to be on the main hall or in the main convention floor. So you're not going to have that pool kind of diluting the traffic. It's going to be interesting.
I mean, it's going to be amazing. Now, I've only been once. This is my second time going. So, and I'm gonna be honest with you. That one time I went, it was overwhelming at times. So I don't even know, like, this time. Like, there's gonna be some days I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna go outside.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna be a return to the comic side of things. It's called San Diego Comic Con. I believe that, to me, this is, if you are a comic creator, if this is your comic writer, if this is when you go
It's your
hard
time
as
to
a
shine.
hard as a motherfucker. I think
Yeah.
SDCC should really get with Marvel, Dark Horse, Image, and start lining some of these dudes and these women up and start doing panels and start getting some of these comic creators and get back to the actual convention of promoting comics and promoting books. I think this is a great opportunity. If you are toy sales, if you're a Mattel, Funko just dropped what, 30,000 products in a landfill. Funko, if I was you, I'd have my ass up there in Hall H and be like, hey man, we giving away shit.
Hmm.
If you're Hasbro, to Tamashi Nations, all of those people, I think this is your time to shine. This is your time to be call up and be like, hey, what y'all doing? Can we get a panel? Because this is where you can get people, because you don't have to fight with the latest Marvel thing. You don't have to fight with the latest Warner Brothers thing or the whatever that's coming out. Um, so that's your opportunity. But this is big. This
Hmm.
strike is huge. This is not going to have just Hollywood. This is going to have worldwide reach, this strike.
Because, and this is a topic that can be bigger else in other places, but a lot of unions have been striking recently. This
Mhm.
is like the biggest one to like kind of take over headlines because of how many people it affects. But I mean, railroad union was going to strike earlier this year.
The government got involved with that.
Yeah, and I think that only thing that did was extend their talks. I don't know if they made a new deal or not. I can't remember.
They
So I
did
feel
make
like
a new deal.
they did make a new deal. Okay,
But now
so
the
that
one that's coming up at the end of this month,
UPS.
yes.
Yeah,
And you know the pilots union is not happy either. They have
yeah.
had some people uh, upset, and there's a pilot shortage,
Mhm.
which hopefully we won't have any issues getting to San Diego because we're the only
Right,
coast.
right. Yeah.
But yes, labor has been. There have been labor problems for a while. We've seen labor problems in video games, where we saw Ubisoft had their first work stoppage in France behind some of the working conditions that they had been dealing with. So this isn't new. This inflation that has taken, and keep in mind, this is not just America. Worldwide inflation is up. Doesn't matter what country you're in, you're dealing with some type of inflation, and pay has not kept up with that.
Right. It's interesting because I mean, as we are coming out of the pandemic, we're in an endemic, whatever you want to call it, whether you got vaccinated or didn't get vaccinated. I mean, we are now living in a world where COVID is a thing, it's not gone. And we're still trying to figure out how to deal with that. Even it's crazy to see the long tendrils of how COVID is still affecting us
Hmm.
and just how people are trying to return to life. Because at this point, I don't think everything it's ever going to go back to fully being back to the way it was before COVID, because that's just not a thing anymore. I
No.
know when we first talked, we were like, "Oh, we're going to get back to," like, no, now we just have it, and now we have to figure out whatever the new normal is. There is no old normal anymore. So many people trying to find work-life balance. I mean, we talk about that all the time in our industry. I don't know if you guys talk about it, WOTX. We talk about a CNC all the time.
Nah,
Um,
we're not that progressive.
all right. Anyway, the journalism field as a whole is always talking about work-life balance, and I'm sure that's that way for any type of industry. So just trying to find whatever that balance is. Um, you and I were talking on the phone earlier before we started streaming about Bob Iger, who
Hmm.
I think we both like Bob Iger. Not
Yeah.
talking about his comments recently, but
Friend of the show. Friend of the show,
yeah,
Bob Iger.
Bob Iger has done a lot of good stuff for Disney in terms of making Disney what it is now, in terms of
I mean,
picking up Marvel, picking up Star Wars.
he is so good. They fired the last Bob to bring this Bob back.
Yeah. But now he's kind of coming under fire for the comments he made to CNBC talking about
Hmm.
writers and actors. They don't really essentially the stuff they want. They're being unrealistic with their
Yep.
demands.
So Bob Iger took over for Bob Chapek. Bob Chapek was let go. They brought Iger back in to right the ship. Iger has made some. He's had to fix a lot of the things that the board and Disney feel that Chapek did not do a good job with. There are right now Disney is in a fight with the state of Florida with their governor Ron DeSantis. They have there was a report from CBS News that shows that, man, ticket sales ain't the way it used to be at Disney. So they have to deal with that. You have Disney Plus not making as much money that they thought they would make. Bob Iger, when he was on Squawk Box Today, talked about the fact of, he says they're going to cut back on Star Wars and Marvel because they believe that the amount of Star Wars and Marvel diluted the movie going experience, which then affected their
And I'm
bottom
good with
line.
that. I'm good with that.
That affected their bottom line for movies like The Little Mermaid, um, Elemental, which both of those movies are doing okay now, but they were not out of the gate blockbusters that they thought they were going to be. Um, so he made the comments today, and keep in mind, Bob Iger's the CEO that people like.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, he's not Zaslav.
no, and so to give you some background, before the writers struck, there was a report that Ted Sarandos, David
Who's that?
Zaslav,
Who's that for Tetsu's Ted?
uh, Netflix,
Uh huh.
David Zaslav from Warner Brothers Discovery, and there was a third person, I can't remember who it was, basically had talked about getting government regulators involved in the negotiations to stave off a strike, to help bring everything back to the table, bring everybody back to the table to hold off this strike. That didn't happen. The union decided we're unanimously they're going to strike. So right now for us on Eastern time, it's 1:30 and an hour and a half. That strike goes into effect. And you're going to start seeing your favorite actor and actresses on the picket line with some of your favorite writers. Um, Now, what that means is, now one of the things that Fran Drescher talked about was, and I don't know if you guys haven't watched the press conference, go and watch it because it's very interesting. Fran, one of the rumors were that they did an extension because remember the actors had gotten an extension of about, was it 6 weeks?
No, like 2 weeks.
Was it 2 weeks? I thought it was longer than that.
Well, because they were supposed to strike at like maybe the beginning of July.
Yes, and there was an extension. The rumor was the extension was done to save the summer season. And Fran Drescher in her press conference basically admitted that is what the studios have done. They gave it another 2 weeks. Now, here's what's coming up, the lineup that's coming up. So let's look at, so we're in July, correct?
Hmm.
So let's look at what's coming out. Barbie, Oppenheimer, they cloned Tyrone, which right now it comes into theaters today. It comes to Netflix July 21st. Haunted Mansion. The A lot of people are excited about this. Talk to Me, the horror movie. They believe that that may be one of the big breakout horror movies of this year. In August, you've got The Meg, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, Gran Turismo. Um, let's see what else. In August the 18th, you've got Strays. Now, want to know who's in Strays? Will Ferrell, Jamie Foxx, Isla Fisher, Randall Park, Josh Gad, Will Forte, Harvey Gillian, and Sofia Vergara. Imagine not having any of those people to promote that movie because, as me and Michael have talked about, that could be hit or miss. You need that kind of promotion for this type of movie because this may not go over well. I liked the trailer. Michael kind of liked it, but he's right. You need those people to promote your movie. Blue Beetle in August. Um,
You skipped
so,
over the big one
which one?
only because it's like in the process of coming out, like this weekend where we're at, Mission Impossible,
Oh, well, so yes, you're right. I guess the reason why I kind of skipped over that one because
because it was already
it's
happening.
already out. Yeah, and they already
Fair
had their
enough.
premiere. They already had their
Yep.
premiere. So
Yep. I
sorry,
got you.
I apologize. Thank you for pointing that out. But yeah, so and here's the other thing: for the movies that are already out now, you don't have any promotion. So for Indiana Jones to get over the hump, because that's going to lose Disney some money. You don't have Harrison Ford on talk shows or doing interviews or doing whatever he needs to do to promote that film. You don't have Phoebe Waller. You don't have Mads Mikkelsen. You don't have any of these people promoting your movie. Breck Warren, I'm going to see it tomorrow or later today. Hoping it's good. But
You hope
yeah,
it's good.
it
Tom
could,
Cruise gave his life for this, sir.
sir.
It
I
can't be
believe you.
nothing but good.
I believe you. I agree. Tom Cruise was going to die on film,
Right.
but I don't know. This could be one of his bad ones, could be one of his duds. But so yeah, this is going to be a big. This is going to have huge effects because the Hollywood studios had been bankrolling scripts to basically avoid this with the writers. Now you don't have anybody to act these scripts out.
So I'm seeing one article from Vulture. Headline is House of the Dragon can keep filming amid the SAG-AFTRA strike. So it can keep filming because the strike has not affected plans for production in the UK.
Now the
So
question
interesting.
is, do any of those people decide to not work in
Sure.
solidarity? Now
Yeah.
that's a big question.
Equity previously said a local labor union named Equity there. They stand in unwavering solidarity with SAG-AFTRA. So who knows? I
Now
don't know.
you work in the Charlotte market, which is North Carolina. For those of you who don't know, tell me about the statement that you got from was it the North Carolina Film Commission?
Oh, you know what? Let's bring out the work phone. I'll tell you exactly what they said. Give me a
Mhm.
second. If you want to
Okay.
vamp for a second, I'll find it.
So the reason why I bring that up is because the writer's strike, the writer's strike, it hurt. The last time the writers struck in 2007, I want to get the exact number, but I think I have it here. The last writer's strike lasted 100 days, and it cost about $1 billion in revenue the last time they struck. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but the last writer's strike had a profound effect on television because without the writers, that meant the studios had to rely on a little thing called reality TV. And with reality TV, I I'm not the one saying it, but with reality TV came the emergence of shows like Big Brother. You saw Survivor, all these different shows that came to the forefront because you didn't need writers for that. And there's another little show that gave someone a boost that did not have that platform. It's a little show called The Apprentice.
Hmm.
And so when the upfronts came out, which are the studios showing off their fall lineup, you saw a very heavy reality TV show slate coming up this fall from all your television studios. So go
All right.
ahead.
So this is from the NC Film Office. This is Guy Gaster, the director of the NC Film Office. this isn't a super statement, but it's just so our station wanted to have a local impact on what does the strike mean for North Carolina films and TV shows. And the director of the NC Film Office says film office does not have an official statement, but we have certainly seen a slowdown in the amount of production taking place so far this year in the state, as have all other states. And it is in direct relation to the first of the potential strike, that being the writer's strike, and then the strikes themselves.
Yep.
So, yeah, there you go.
So but the reason why I said we bring this up is because this doesn't just affect Hollywood. And Georgia has a huge studios. Marvel shoots down there, and Georgia also. Now,
What's the man name with the
I was about to bring him up. Medea,
Tyler Perry?
Tyler Perry. Now, Tyler Perry doesn't work with a lot of writers, but that Negro
That's a
works
good
with a
point.
lot of actors.
But I assume he's probably part of the union, though. I would assume
he's part of the union. But here's the thing: he wasn't really too affected by the writer's strike because he writes everything himself.
right.
Now, I don't know if he's part of the Writers Guild, if he's part of the union when it comes to writing, because he has been a lot of people have always criticized him for being bad with writers and always writing his own stuff and not having a proper writer's room. But you can't do your TV shows and movies with Medea if you ain't got nobody to act opposite you.
Right.
So you have Hollywood, you have New York, you have productions being stopped in Canada because a lot of people go to Canada to shoot because it's cheaper to shoot there and make it look like America. And then you have, I believe it's New Mexico is another place a lot of places shoot. So those local economies are going to be affected as well. Georgia is huge for the MCU and Tyler Perry's productions.
Mm-hmm.
And because Tyler Perry just opened up that $1 million whatever facility and people were going there to shoot stuff. So this is huge for not just Hollywood itself, but for local economies as well.
So how long do you think this goes on? I think I have no clue. I'm, just a fly on a wall. I feel like some of the things I've seen are saying October at the earliest.
Here's the thing. The reason why I think it's going to get ugly is because Bob Iger is the one they like. And Bob Iger's the one with charisma. And he's the one who said, it's very disturbing this is from Variety. The writer of the article is Elise Schaefer. It's very disturbing to me. We've talked about disruptive forces on this business and all the challenges we're facing. The recovery from COVID, which is ongoing, it's not completely back. This is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption. Iger said, I understand any labor organization's desire to work on behalf of its member to get the most compensation and be compensated fairly based on the value that they deliver. We managed as an industry to negotiate a very good deal with the Directors Guild that reflects the value that the directors contribute to this great business. We wanted to do the same thing with the writers, and we'd like to do the same thing with the actors. There's a level of expectation that they have that is just not realistic, and they are adding to the set of the challenges that this business is already facing that is, quite frankly, very disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one they like. Now, I say that because Bob Iger is set to earn $27 million in 2023.
And his contract was extended through 2026.
Yes. So he's going to make about $54 million for 2 years worth of work. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because he's the one they like. And the one they don't like is David Zaslav. Now, when you total up three, and I'm trying to look it up right now, but I will tell you right now, I'm on. Now, this is from June 1st, 2023, from CNBC. David Zaslav, CEO of Warner Brothers and Discovery Incorporated, was paid $498 million, $900,000.
Just round it, man.
$500 million
There
between
you go.
2018 and 2022. He is set to make 270. So he is set to make this year alone here it is. So this is from March the 19th. Hold on. I'm trying to find this huge number. Adam Conover actually broke down, and I can't find it right now, but Adam Conover basically broke down the three richest CEOs. If you take the three richest Hollywood CEOs and you combine their income, the amount of money that they make in 1 year would pay for the writer's salary for all 11,000 members for 3 years. That's insane.
Mhm.
Now, and so the writers are the behind the scenes people. You don't see them. There's a couple of writers you may know. Quinta Brunson is also a part of the Writers Guild, also a part of the Screen Actors Guild. There's a lot of people who are in the Writers Guild you may not know. You may see them and may not realize it. Some of them on Twitter, but the people you know are the actors. And now you're going to have them be able to boost the writer's strike along with the actor strike.
I'm gonna highlight a comment here in a second. That's not what I meant to do.
Okay.
Let's see if it'll. Dang, let's see if it pops up. Let's see. Show.
What you looking for?
There we go. Okay. We'll get more headlines as they pop in. This is Brick Warren. I saw headlines saying studios are trying to starve the writers out.
You are correct.
And I saw this headline too. This was yesterday or the day before.
From Deadline.
This was before the SAG-AFTRA strike went into effect.
Yes, I have it right here. I have the article.
And it seemed like the idea was like, oh, let's make these guys let's make these people really struggle, and then that'll be easier to negotiate with them later in the year. I wonder if that's going to change. Go ahead.
No. Keep going. I put the article in the chat. That's why.
Okay. I said, I wonder if that's going to change now that the actors have joined. Because it's easier to fight one union as opposed to fighting multiple unions at the same time.
And it's easier to fight people you don't know.
Sure.
Because here's the thing. And the reason why I said it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly because the AMPTP had already tried to starve out. This is the headline. Hollywood Studios WGA strike endgame is to let the writers go broke before resuming talks in the fall. So the article from Dominic Patton on Deadline, this came out 2 days ago, and it was a bombshell. It did not have the effect that people thought, the people in the room thought it was going to have. Because here's the statement from AMPTP. These anonymous people are not speaking on behalf of the AMPTP or member companies who are committed to reaching a deal and getting our industry back to work. The idea, and here's a quote, where is it? Here it is. Regardless of whether the SAG-AFTRA goes on strike this week, the studios have no intention of sitting down with the Writers Guild for several more months. I think we're in for a long strike, and they're going to let it bleed out, said one industry veteran intimate with the POV of studio CEOs. The end game is to allow things to drag on until union members start losing their apartments and losing their houses, a studio executive told Deadline. Acknowledging the cold as ice approach, several other sources reiterated the statement. One insider called it a cruel but necessary evil. I think it's going to get worse because what they're trying to do is they're going to try to break the writers and then shame the actors. And then what they're going to try to do is they're going to haul out and they're going to try to push this narrative. Why is Tom Cruise striking? Tom Cruise is in Mission Impossible. He makes X amount of money. Why is Nicole Kidman? Why is Margot Robbie? Why are all Robert Downey Jr.? He's made X amount of millions doing Marvel movies. That's what they're going to do because remember what they did to Scarlett Johansson for Black Widow?
Hmm.
That's what they're going to do to all the because there's 160,000 members. But what they're going to do is they're going to try to paint the actors as being greedy. And that's what they're going to, because they've already tried it with the writers and it
Hmm.
didn't work. So they're going to try a different approach. I think it's going to get ugly. And I think it's going to take a little bit of time away for them to come back to the table. Because here's the thing in that article, they said this is a make or break moment because what the studios do not want to do is they do not want to give out the information of how they tabulate streaming data. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, that's the
They,
big thing.
that's the big thing. The writers are not getting residuals because the last time the writer strike happened was in 2007. Streaming wasn't a big thing then. Basically the only thing they had really worried about was YouTube. So right now, streaming, they're making millions of dollars on streaming as far as like just different shows. Because here's the thing, when you make a show like Stranger Things, you get to make money off not just the show and the streaming part of it. You get to make money off of guess what? Little tchotchkes,
Hmm.
little t-shirts, memorabilia, all that stuff, video games. The writers don't get to share in any of that. All that goes back to Netflix and the studio.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about it, but the last time this really happened, well, the last big strike we had was 2007, 2008, and that was kind of talking about home distribution rights
Mhm.
and how that residuals were going to affect that. I'm wondering, with a big talk about this being streaming services and AI, I wonder if that's going to have a bleed over effect into other industries because every industry is trying to figure out how to deal with AI. We work in the
Mhm.
journalism business and we're trying to figure out how we deal with AI and how
Yep.
we are able to use it responsibly and not like be a slave to it, but how do we use it effectively to tell stories without worrying that whether or not the stories we tell are true are factually accurate or not.
Mhm. And you mentioned AI, and you don't watch Black Mirror. You should. It's basically the Twilight Zone, but for today's society. The first episode of the latest season that came out from Charlie Brooker was called "Joan is Awful," and the idea behind the show is that they have created a show that Netflix, what's called Streamberry on in this universe, created a show that took the image and likeness of different actors and actresses and they created their own show. So the actors licensed their likeness because they were just signing something and didn't realize what they had signed, basically gave away their rights. And Streamberry basically made them do terrible things in the show. And there was nothing they could do about it. That literally was the idea behind, because here's one of the things that the studio offered the Actors Guild from the press conference with Fran Drescher, and I cannot remember what the gentleman's name was, but he said one of the concessions, this big grand idea that they had for us was background actors and actresses for a day's worth of pay would get their face and likeness scanned to be used by studios in perpetuity. What that meant was is that they would get them and then they don't have to use them anymore because guess what? I can just read I can take your image and likeness and I can do whatever I want with it and then I can start making background actors and actresses without having to pay you
Yeah, that seems crazy. I don't know why they thought that somebody would go for that.
because people have gone for it. Because remember what the sticking point for Jet Li was why he didn't want to do the Matrix?
No.
They wanted to do that to him.
Hmm.
Um, I'm pulling up right now. Jet Li, that was the refuses Matrix. So Jet Li sat down with a Chinese outlet. Remember Sarah from The Matrix, the kung fu fighting guardian of the Oracle, could have been played by Jet Li until he realized the filmmakers might have wanted to digitally preserve all his martial arts moves.
Hmm.
That was his sticking point why he did not do The Matrix. He was supposed to be Seraph. And he refused because he did not want to lose the ownership of his martial arts movies. This is from IndieWire. Um, Here it is. It was a commercial struggle for me, Lee said. I realized the Americans wanted me to film for 3 months, but be with the crew for 9. And for 6 months, they wanted to record and copy all my moves into a digital library. By the end of the recording, the rights of those moves would go to them. Lee did not want to sell his martial arts moves to be used and repurposed by others in the future, so he made the decision not to play Seraph. I was thinking, I've been training my entire life, and we martial artists could only grow older, yet they could own my moves as an intellectual property forever. I said I couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's now keep in mind, when did the Matrix come out?
Is that 99 or something?
The first Matrix, but he was going to be in the Matrix 3 because remember, no, was it 2?
Oh, 2? Yeah.
2, because Seraph showed up in 2, Matrix Reloaded. So when did that come out? So that's what I'm saying. Like, they've done it before. And that's why they thought they could get away with it now. We also have deep fake technology. And we have seen what happens because remember what happened when all that deep fake technology came out about Tom Cruise? And then we found out it was not Tom Cruise. And it was this guy making deep fake technology. And remember that Disney hired one of the deep fake technology people because they were able to perfect which show was it on The Mandalorian when Mark Hamill came and did The Mandalorian. And remember, one of the deep fake people was like, "I can do a better job," and they did a better job. Disney ended up hiring that person.
Yeah.
So the AI is not something that is a pie in the sky. It's here now. They are already worried about it because it's already happened. And we already know that they can do Book of Boba Fett. Thank you, Bank 757. And we already know that they can do it because we've seen video game captures of actors and actresses in our video games. Look at The Last of Us, Joel and Ellie. Hell, look at the way they captured what's her Paige before he transitioned for the video game. I'm trying to remember.
It's Elliot Page now.
It's Elliot Page now, but when they before he transitioned, they used her likeness, and we see that. So it's not something that's afar off. That shit is here right now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things that has sparked is right now, and this is on IGN, but it was from the LA Times. Squid Game creator Huang Dong-hyuk has been candid about his creation with the smash hit for Netflix in 2021. Did make him rich, but it seems like it goes deeper than that. And this is from Kat Bailey. A new Los Angeles Times report details how Squid Game released Netflix internal value by some $900 million. However, the man had to sign away all his rights.
Yeah, that's wild.
According to the report, residuals are typically negotiated through the Korea Television and Radio Writers Association, but Netflix has no agreement with the group. Instead, writers typically receive their money.
Oh, you froze for a second, Lyra. Where'd you go?
Take between to create time. So this man basically rose the price of Netflix by almost $1 billion. and he, in comparison, did not get
Right.
that.
Yeah. Um, it's weird because the big thing I always hear from all of the big execs is that streaming, we're losing money with streaming, we're not making this money. And well, I hear two things. We're not really making money, but they're also like, man, subscribers are just coming so much. And it's like it can't be both, right? It's either one or the other. So I guess what's gonna break, what has to give before we actually get a true, oh, this is what the numbers are. I think a big thing is the AMPTP doesn't want a third party organization, right, being in charge of the numbers, and
No,
that's their sticking point.
no, they don't want a rating system, because if you have a rating system, or like we have ratings and television where we can figure out how many people have watched this particular show, then that means you can't hide the money.
Hmm.
That means you can't
You can't hide the money.
you can't because you can't. Here's the thing: if I have a hit show,
Hmm.
I can give you perfect example. Squid Game. We know Squid Game was one of their biggest hits. We now know Squid Game made Netflix almost $1 billion.
Hmm.
Now, if that had an outside arbiter who was able to tell you how many people watched it, how long they watched it, how many times they watched it, you can give a clear accounting of how much you should get based on the rates that the contract is between the guild. I ain't got to tell you shit if you don't know how many times that thing has been streamed. I can
Right.
just I cut you a check for $5,
Right.
because then I can lie and say, well, the production and all. I don't have to tell you shit. And that's exactly what they're trying to hide. And that's exactly why they said in that article from Deadline, this is a make or break moment for the companies. Because on one end, yes, they are supposedly losing money, but that's debt that they've taken on to build these streaming services. But they're still making money on these things. They're still bringing in revenue. And the thing is, the reason why they're trying to be profitable is because they want to make those projections that Hollywood's that that Wall Street says that they should. They're not doing it because they're poor. They're not doing it because they're not making money. If they're not making money, why are they paying CEOs millions and millions and millions of dollars?
Hmm.
That's not the case. They're doing it because the projections and the stock options for the people who they make money for are not seen as much as they would like to see. And they're doing it by getting rid of content on their streaming services. Disney is now engaging in the same thing David Zaslav did with Warner Brothers on Max and HBO Max. They are taking things off original content and licensing out stuff so that they can make up this money. And meanwhile, as they make this money, they're not sharing in that profit with the writers and actors. And that's basically what it is.
I'm just now seeing your text about, hey, do you want to stream tonight?
Uh,
Because as you were telling me on the phone, like, you said that to me? What are you
Yep.
talking about? I was like, oh, you sent that at 8:30. Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
see that text. Um, Interesting. So what do you think? How and when is this resolved?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's again. I think it's going to get ugly. I think it's going to get ugly, and I think it's going to take Hollywood to lose some money. But at the end of the day, they're fighting. Hollywood is fighting for. And when I say Hollywood, I apologize. The AMPTP is fighting for to not basically show their books.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to cut. We're going to give you a favorable offer. This AI stuff, hey man, we'll figure it out. But I don't think they thought it through how much the actors and writers foresaw how that could impact them. And AMPTP is smart enough, and because I'm not going to tell you that these people are not smart, these executives aren't smart. They're not creative, but they're not stupid.
Right.
They're smart enough to know that if I can get a computer to do a lot of the stuff that these people we don't need, they believe they don't need the writers because they believe for procedural television they can cut that down. So your Law and Orders, your CSIs, your what's the other Chuck Lorre shows, um, Big Bang Theory, Two and a Half Men. Yeah, you can get AI to spit out some of that stuff.
Hmm.
And then you have a smaller writer's room, and then you just hire a few of them. And then for your background actors, oh, yeah, um, you have a
That froze up again. Leroy, you'll come back in a second there. I think you speaking truth. You
AI,
speaking
and you don't have the
truth to
people.
power here, and it's making the AI upset. What were you about to say?
I was saying that if you can get the AI to start making these people, you ain't got to pay all these actors. You don't have to engage in the union. You can keep that money for yourself. So I think this is a make or break moment for the studios because they realize that if we can get them to agree to this, they're going to make a serious amount of money.
Breck Warren, do y'all think we'll have AI written shows in the fall?
Um,
I don't think you will
no, not yet.
because you don't have the actors. So even if they were to write the scripts, you don't have the talent in front of the camera to do anything with it.
And AI
So,
is not sophisticated enough to write the scripts yet.
well,
Now, if you have,
it's not sophisticated enough to write a good script. It can write you something.
yeah, it can write you something, but it's not.
If you don't care, if you're not trying to
Mhm.
do prestige television,
Yes.
hey, you put something
Now,
out there.
here's the thing: if you still had the actors, you probably could have gotten a couple of these shows on with an AI script. If you like Abbott Elementary, you're not gonna get AI writers. But for some of these other shows, keep in mind there's about I want to say, hold on, I'm looking how many scripted American TV shows. I think the numbers. So yeah, right now, the Hollywood Reporter counts at 599 scripted shows, and this was on January 12th, 2023. I
Hmm.
think that number's now down to 549, according to PBS. But right now, the Hollywood Reporter, as of January 12th, says 599 scripted shows. All of them ain't The Wire. All of them, like some of your quirky shows, like what's the one on Peacock? The one with your lady Betty Gilpin.
Miss Davis.
Yeah, you like shows like that, Miss Davis, Poker Face. No, but maybe some of your lower tiered comedies that are like on Netflix. Yeah, I can see you doing that. I can
Yeah,
see definitely see you getting some AI writers in there.
yeah, and I wonder what are gonna be the stipulations and like regulations for that kind of stuff because it's coming. I don't think there's any way you're ever going to be able to say no. AI is never going to be involved. I don't think it's such a movement now that I don't think there's a way that you could ever get rid of that now. So I guess the question is, how do you regulate it? How do you stipulate what can and can't be accepted from AI?
Right now, this. I mean, this is why they're fighting. This is why, um, if you watch Secret Invasion, that
Hmm.
opening for Secret Invasion was created with AI along with some human animators.
Right.
I mean, you're already seeing it creep into the production of shows, and it's only going to get more and more sophisticated. It's only learning at an incredible rate, and studios are going to use it as much as possible because it saves them money.
Hmm.
So I don't know where we go from here. I do know that and eventually they're going to have to come to the table. But the last writer strike lasted 100 days. We're only on day 70.
Yeah. Still got another month
You
if we
still
go
got
by last time.
the writers still have another month, and the actors just joined them.
Right.
There are
So
some
in a way, that almost kind of like reload. Now we got a fresh set.
now some there are some projections and some people saying, okay, with the writers and actors, maybe that puts pressure on them to come back to the table. And maybe
Hmm.
because you now have to fight two unions, it get puts pressure to like let's go ahead and get this done. But there are some, like I said, that article came out 2 days ago, and that was in knowing that the actor strike could be coming from deadline, where they were like, we're going to break them, we're going to make them lose their homes, their apartments, we're going to crush them.
Yeah.
That's 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with people who have that type of thought process, they're in it for the long haul. Because remember, those people ain't losing any money
Hmm.
yet.
Yeah, because it'll be interesting to see the longer this goes out, and you kind of talked about it. When are those stock prices going to start to drip or start to
Mhm.
drop? Um, it's kind of an interesting thing because inflation is slowly kind of returning back to a median line, and prices are slowly dropping down. Everything on Wall Street is also going up, so that's affecting like all these stocks. So it'll be interesting to
Well,
see.
you look at stocks. What's some of the stock prices that you have seen go up or down?
Let's see. I mean, I made some money today, so I was happy. Um, let's see some of the stocks I like to follow.
So right now, according to the market summary, Disney stock went up today.
Let's go to this one. Um,
Um,
I got so many different things here. Where we go? Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, Disney's at $90.45.
that's funny. I got 90.47.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Um,
Netflix is at 438.
I don't really follow a lot of the entertainment stocks.
Amazon is not. Amazon is. It's hard to get Amazon and Apple's, but like,
Oh, I can get you Amazon and Apple.
no. What I'm saying is they because they have so many other things. Like it's not just a movie studio.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So it's not like it's
Yeah.
just directly impacted by
Uh
this.
huh.
Yeah, I get you.
So Warner Brothers stock right now is at um what do you see Warner Brothers at?
Warner
At,
Brothers.
at
Let's see.
close was at $13.
That don't sound right.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't see that. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. You tell me what Warner Brothers is at.
Warner Brothers Discovery. Oh, wow. Dang. No, $13.10.
Okay, so I was right. Yeah. So right now at after hours on Market Watch, I'm seeing
Oh, yeah, that's
1304.
right. Because they've been in the shitter for a while anyway.
Yeah,
That's the issue.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now the question is, do they? Because a lot of people believe the speculation is that Warner Brothers is liquidating and getting rid of a lot of these assets because they're looking to sell. Um, they're looking to spin off
Hmm.
something. I don't know what, but that is one of the things that they think Zaslav is in it for. So, what's another studio we should look at real quick? Because right now,
I feel like that was everybody.
um,
What is CBS Viacom?
yep. What about MGM?
I think Amazon bought MGM, right?
Uh huh. MGM stock price is at 48.99, $48.99 close today. That was up. So Disney was up today. Uh, let's see.
But again, like overall, everybody's up because
Yep.
not because of this, but also because of inflation stuff. So
Hmm.
that's also
But
playing into it.
here's the thing. If these movies do not start, so here's and I think this is going to be telling. Here's where you're going to start to see some movement, and maybe if you do not see your favorite actors and actresses promoting movies, and these movies are released and they do not do well, and then you start to see production on things that are big coming out because look at with the rest of the holiday season that's coming up after. Now we know that they dump a lot of movies after August. September and October are a dumping ground for a lot of movies.
Hmm.
But what happens in November and December? Oscar season. The
Hmm.
Oscar bait drops. And we know Dune's coming out in November. We know Wonka, which we just did a trailer reaction for, is coming out. We know
Be
the
sure to
Marvel.
check that out on our YouTube channel, y'all. Check out that trailer reaction.
So we also know Wonka's coming out. Marvel's is coming out in November. We also have Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese's movie is coming out. So you have a lot of Oscar Napoleon, which we just did. You have a lot of films that are coming out that you want these actors and actresses talking about hyping up. that I think is when we're going to start to see, because that's when you're going to have to be able to be like, hey, um, we need to make some money off of this stuff.
Mhm.
Because how do you have a cast as accomplished as Dunes is, or DiCaprio in Scorsese's movie, just drop in the theater and no one's talking about it? We'll talk about it because we'll go see it, but I don't know about you, but I'm not Jessica Ferguson. And that sexy man boy, Timothy Chalamet, is probably a better
Rebecca Ferguson?
Rebecca. What did I say?
You said Jessica. I was like, who is Jessica
Oh,
Ferguson?
I was thinking Lady Jessica.
Okay. It was like, her name was Rebecca
I
Ferguson. Sorry.
combine her name. But yeah, you probably want Timothy Chalamet sitting on somebody's couch talking about his movie with
Yeah.
Zendaya.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see as we wrap up. Interesting to see.
Yeah.
We've been going for about an hour, y'all, which is
Yeah.
about how long we go for press play.
Yep.
We usually don't do these at 1:00 in the morning, but we came to y'all because we had nothing else to do.
Well, and we thought this was big enough. We
Yeah,
really
sure, why not?
we thought this was big. We thought this was. I mean, to me, this is a big enough story because again, this hasn't happened since 1960,
Right.
and this is going to greatly affect going forward the rest of the season for movies and conventions.
But I mean, I guess that's it. Y'all know. Thank you for the people who joined in. I think I saw Breck Warren. I saw Bank 757, Herbert Thornton,
Yep.
and some other people that didn't necessarily comment. But you don't got to comment. You can just come in and chill with us and
Yeah.
chat. Just
And
appreciate
if
that.
you're going to watch this later on, we really appreciate it. Just tell us what you think about this whole thing in the comments. We really appreciate it. So, Michael, go ahead and wrap this up.
Y'all know where to find us if you found us. We trying for YouTube and Facebook. We'll go ahead and go through some of those captions for you right now. We trying y'all for Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and of course Threads, which Leroy got us on. Because we did this press play now, we probably won't do one Saturday.
Maybe. I mean, we
Maybe,
still
we'll
haven't
see.
talked about the other big news that dropped this week. Your big news.
Oh, Xbox.
Yep.
True. Yeah, we may. I
Microsoft.
don't know. We may actually be packing, or at least I might be packing for San Diego, so we'll see.
Okay.
The big thing might be whether or not we'll do one next Saturday because we'll be in San Diego.
Hey, man, I may bring a laptop.
I mean, we only need one laptop. We'll be in the same place.
Yeah, I'm saying I may bring a laptop. Are you bringing one? Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably bring this laptop.
Yeah. Okay.
Or not this laptop, a laptop.
I'm bringing this one.
You're not going to have it for much longer, so get some use out of it.
You might as well.
Yeah, fair enough. What got you through the week, man? Or actually, what got you through these months? What you been doing?
Dead. Dying Light too, man. Just
Okay.
hitting people in the face with like clubs and stuff, and the story. I like the story. I do. I like this world. Villador. I'm really feeling it, especially with the Good Night and Good Luck update. They've really have returned it to the first game. So I probably should start streaming it on Twitch, but I just forget. I just come home, turn it on, and just kind of like veg out, then play it for an hour, and then do laundry or vacuum or do dishes or something. Matter of fact, I gotta go do laundry after we get finished with this. So
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's it. What about you?
Man, so the last time we did a live one, I finished up Ghost of Tsushima and the DLC. I put in 100 hours in that game. Really loved it. I collected damn near everything in that. Went back to Assassin's Creed Valhalla because I put that down. I had started it, maybe put 12 hours into it, put it down. I'm getting back into it, and I got to remember how everything works because I don't remember like the button combinations and everything. Trying to figure that out again. Still playing Civilization 6 because I love taking civilizations and destroying other people. Feeling real powerful with that.
And you're the person who calls me evil.
Yeah. And like Breck Warren said, if you're not watching Warrior, please watch Warrior because they had two seasons. They got canceled. Max brought it back. So let's give some love to Warrior.
And that's so weird that Max is the one that brought it back. Like,
yeah. Well, you know what though? I say that. I feel like it was in the works that it was coming back before the merger was finished.
Really? Okay.
I think. And they were like, well, we already said we're going to do it, so let's do it.
Because, they'd be slicing and dicing shows like they're on Chopped or something.
But, I mean, the show's great. It's got a bunch of awesome martial artists. It's got a couple people from the Raid in there. It's got Andrew Koji as the main guy. It's based on writings from Bruce Lee. It's a really good show. Produced by his daughter. So if you like martial arts, you like good choreography, check out Warrior. A lot of fun. What am I watching? Is that started season 2 of The Bear. Loving that. I've watched like the first 15 minutes of the first episode of season 2. I'm like, yep, back in this awesome show.
Yeah, I'm watching Silo, and I finished Class of '09. That's a really good show. Y'all should really go check out Class of '09. And because I'm dealing with a lot, I went back and started watching Friends again, man.
Okay.
Whenever stuff happens, I just go back and watch Joey, Chandler, Rachel, Ross. I don't know why. I just do.
I can't believe you forgot Phoebe.
Phoebe's not my favorite.
Okay, there we go.
I don't.
Lisa Kudrow. Nobody cares about you, apparently, is what Leroy
I'm
said.
just saying, hey,
Friend
man.
of the show, Lisa Kudrow.
Nah.
Wow. Jeez. Man.
She aight.
All
I'm
right,
hating.
fair enough.
I'm hating.
Yeah. All right, folks. That's it for us. We'll be back hopefully soon.
Eventually.
Peace. Yeah.
Deuces.
Peace.